Help me reach 2,000 subscribes. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every comment. Thanks. I never thought a simple conversation could change the way I saw Emily. We'd been together for 5 years, engaged for 2, and up until recently, our relationship had felt stable, even comfortable. Emily was smart, funny, magnetic, the kind of woman who could light up a room with her laughter. I was Michael, 33, a software engineer working for a mid-sized tech firm in Seattle. I liked things steady, predictable, but steady had a way of hiding cracks until they were impossible to ignore. It all started one Friday evening when I came home, exhausted from a week of coding marathons and endless meetings. I found Emily in the kitchen, scrolling through her phone with that distant look she had whenever something irritated her. I had something to tell her, something I thought she'd be proud of, but as soon as I opened my mouth, she cut me off. "Michael, can you not talk about work tonight?" she said, her voice tight. "I just want a quiet evening." I froze, not because she was asking, but because the phrasing felt deliberate, almost like a warning. "Is everything okay?" I asked cautiously. "I'm fine," she replied, barely looking up. "Just, let's not talk about your job." I nodded, feeling a strange pang of unease. Work had always been my life's passion, yes, but I wanted to share it with her, to be proud together the things I accomplished. She had always encouraged me before. Something had changed. Over the next week, it became a pattern. Any mention of a new project, a promotion, or even something small like a challenging bug I'd solved was met with silence or irritation. I started to notice little things too. She laughed less at my jokes, avoided eye contact when I was excited about something, and spent more time on her phone than with me. Then, one evening, I overheard her on a call with her friends. At first, I didn't recognize the names, but the tone caught my attention, sharp, almost vindictive. "He really should just stay quiet about his work," Emily was saying. "I can't deal with it anymore. It's like he's showing off, and honestly, it annoys me. I'm serious. I've been patient, but I can't let him keep talking about it." I felt my stomach drop. Her friends responded with what sounded like laughter and encouragement. "You're right. Make him regret it. He'll see how it feels." I backed away silently, my mind racing. She wasn't just avoiding my work because she was tired or stressed. She was actively trying to shut me down, turning her friends into co-conspirators. I couldn't believe it. For a moment, I questioned myself. Had I done something to provoke this? Was I being insensitive without realizing it? The next day, I tried to bring it up casually, hoping to clear the air. "Emily, can we talk about yesterday?" I overheard. "No, Michael." She snapped, her patience thin. "I don't want to talk about work. Can we just enjoy dinner?" I bit back a retort and nodded, forcing a smile, but my mind refused to settle. Dinner felt heavy, the clinking of silverware and muted hum of our favorite playlist doing nothing to ease the tension. I kept thinking about the call I overheard, replaying her words over and over. By the weekend, I noticed a subtle escalation. She invited her friends over, something she did often, but this time I could feel the shift in the atmosphere. Her friends whispered too much, laughed at the wrong moments, and shot me these tiny looks that made my skin crawl. Emily seemed to feed off their energy, her smirk sharper than usual. Every compliment I tried to make about my work was drowned out by a chorus of subtle mockery or dismissive gestures. I started to feel trapped, like a spectator in my own life. My passion, the thing that made me feel alive, had become a weapon against me in my own home. And the worst part? Emily didn't just disapprove silently. She actively sought reinforcement from others, a small army of people to make me doubt myself, to guilt me into silence. By Sunday night, it reached a boiling point. I had prepared a surprise, a short demo of a project I had been working on for weeks, something I was genuinely proud of. I wanted to share it with her, to see her eyes light up as she had before. I called her to the living room. "Emily, I want to show you something I've been working on. It's really important to me." Her face twisted in annoyance. "Michael, seriously, not now." I took a deep breath. "Just 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking." "No," she said firmly. "I told you no work talk. You need to respect that. I stared at her, the weight of the week pressing down on me. Respect? She was demanding respect for her silence, while deliberately orchestrating my humiliation. The anger inside me rose, but I swallowed it. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of an outburst. Not tonight. Instead, I left the room quietly, demo unsaid, pride unshared. But as I walked away, I made a decision. I couldn't continue like this, silenced, diminished, doubted. Something had to change. And I had a feeling that by Monday, the story would take a turn I hadn't anticipated. Her friends had already lit a spark of chaos. Now, it was only a matter of time before it became a wildfire. Monday arrived with an uneasy tension. I could feel the moment I stepped into the kitchen. Emily was already there, chatting with her friends again, that same sly smile lingering on her lips. I tried to ignore them, poured myself coffee, and sat at the table, pretending everything was normal. But the atmosphere was thick, heavy with expectation and manipulation. By late morning, I realized she wasn't going to let this slide quietly. Her friends had made their intentions clear. They wanted me diminished, silenced, made to feel small. And Emily, she was complicit in every way. I couldn't let that continue. Not today. It started with a small remark, almost casual. "So, Michael, did you finish that project you've been bragging about all week?" She asked, voice light, but with an edge I could feel. I looked at her, calm, measured. "Yes, and I'd like to show you now." The smirk on her face faltered just slightly. She glanced at her friends, who exchanged knowing looks, and I could see the shift. The dynamic was about to change. I carried my laptop into the living room, opened the demo, and started explaining. My voice was steady, confident, each word deliberate. I noticed Emily's friends whispering, but the moment I showcased a particularly clever piece of code, their whispers turned into quiet admiration, though they tried to mask it, like they were still on her side. Emily's eyes widened slightly, and for a moment, I thought I saw regret flicker across her face. But she quickly masked it with that same practiced expression, leaning back and crossing her arms. That's impressive," she said, almost too flatly. I stopped talking. I didn't need to continue. The demonstration had done its work. She had no idea how long I had worked on this, how much of myself I had poured into it. And now, instead of applause or praise, I could see her panic subtly emerging. She realized her plan, to silence me, to diminish me, was unraveling in real time. The real shock came an hour later. I had stepped out to the balcony to get some air, and when I returned, Emily was gone. Her friends were still inside, but they looked nervous, exchanging glances I couldn't quite decipher. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Emily. "We need to talk. Alone. Now." I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I called her bluff. I knew her game. For weeks, she had tried to control the narrative, gather allies, and make me feel small. But this was her alone, without witnesses. I decided it was time to confront her head-on. She was waiting for me in the car outside, hood drawn up, hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. "Michael," she started, voice trembling slightly, betraying her usual confidence. "Emily, enough," I said firmly. "The silence, the whispers, the manipulation, it ends now. I won't be silenced or made to feel small in my own life. I've tried to be patient, but this, whatever this is, it stops today." She looked at me, and for the first time in weeks, I saw her without the mask. Fear, anxiety, guilt. I didn't think," she stammered. "You didn't think? You enlisted your friends to make me doubt myself, to control me. That's not thinking. That's cruelty." Her lips pressed into a thin line. She was cornered, and I could see the realization hit her. She had underestimated me. For weeks, she had been planning her little game, try to assert dominance through silence and manipulation. But she hadn't accounted for my resolve. Then came the final twist, the one I hadn't expected, yet secretly anticipated. Emily's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, panic in her eyes. I saw the message just briefly, but it was enough. Her friends had texted her behind my back. "Did you really think you could handle him alone?" A slow smile crept across my face. I realized that in trying to control me, She had created chaos she couldn't manage. I reached into my pocket and retrieved my own phone. "Emily," I said softly but firmly, "I'm done letting anyone dictate my worth. I'm done being silenced. If you want to stay in this relationship, it will be on my terms. Honestly, equally, and without manipulation. Otherwise, we end here." Her eyes widened. She didn't argue. She didn't protest. For the first time in months, there was silence. The air between us shifted, charged, almost electric. I felt a strange sense of liberation, the kind that comes only when you reclaim control over a situation you've endured for too long. She finally spoke, voice low, almost a whisper. I think I've gone too far." "Maybe," I said, closing my phone. "But it's not too late to be honest. Or we walk away." She hesitated. I could see her weighing the choices, the consequences of her actions. And then, slowly, she nodded. "Okay," she said, a single word but heavy with weight. I felt the tension ease just slightly. We drove home in silence, the kind that wasn't suffocating but reflective. Each of us processing what had just happened. The friends? They stayed behind, powerless now. Their influence had evaporated. By the time we reached the apartment, I knew the story had changed. Not through shouting, not through drama, but through quiet resolve and clarity. I had been tested, pushed to the edge of my patience and pride. And I had walked away from fear, manipulation, and control, not with anger, but with awareness and strength. That night, I went to bed with a sense of calm I hadn't felt in weeks. Emily and I had work to do, rebuilding trust, setting boundaries, learning to communicate without fear or coercion. But I knew this. Silence could no longer control me, and respect would always be the foundation of anything I chose to build from here. Sometimes, the loudest victories aren't the ones that scream. They're the ones you feel quietly, in the steadiness of reclaiming your own voice. And for the first time in a long while, I could finally hear mine clearly.